Penn State on Thursday. You thought recruiting was done. You thought we were going to take a little bit of a back seat, enjoy the holiday season or relax after signing it. Nope. Penn State bounces right back into it on Thursday morning with defensive back Xxavier Thomas out of Pittsburgh Central Catholic, 5'10", 160 pounds. This is a kid who's been starting at Pittsburgh Central Catholic since he was a freshman, which says a lot. If you're starting for Pittsburgh Central Catholic as a freshman, you're pretty damn good, and he is good. I think I described him as high production, high ceiling player for Penn State. And I think the easy comp here, guys, is Daquan Hardy. 5'10", 160 right now. That 5'10" may be generous. Reportedly has a good speed. I think I saw somewhere around maybe 4 or 5 speed for him. Marty, I know you wrote up his commitment piece a little bit here. Any thoughts on Xxavier Thomas? Like I said, 5'10", 160 out of Central Catholic. 3-year starter, has been productive for Central Catholic in his 3 years there. What's your thoughts?
A really good, a really good all-around give for Penn State. Central Catholic, that's a state powerhouse, right? One of the best programs in the state. So players they're gonna be coached up, they get ready to go. Yeah, I like it. He's a plus athlete, really good coverage skills. I know you and I talked about it for coming here tonight. The difference between him and a guy like Larry Moon. There's not a lot there. Yeah, really, really good coverage guy with Penn State, and hopefully it sticks. Penn State lands him because this is a potentially really, really good get by Penn State in their recruiting class.
Larry Moon, by the way, a 2027 prospect out of Central Catholic that you should absolutely keep an eye on. Absolutely should remember that name. I really believe he has a 5-star potential. Anthony, not sure how much you've been able to dive into Xxavier Thomas, but high production on defense, 62 tackles, including 47 solo tackles just between his junior and freshman years. His sophomore year stats are not available on Max Preps, unfortunately. I could not find them. But through those 2 years alone, you're looking at 62 tackles. So you're guessing closing in on probably 100 by now. For his career, 4 interceptions this past season, 4 as a freshman, but also a really good return man, a dangerous return man, natural ability back there, has NFL pedigree. His brother Rodney is with the Colts, has started 24 games last 2 seasons at safety and corner. Any thoughts on Xxavier Thomas?
Yeah, I find it pretty funny that on the day that Daquan Hardy announces that he's going to the NFL, they get a commitment from a kid from Pittsburgh, which is where Daquan Hardy's from, who also projects very similarly to Daquan Hardy. They pretty much said, you're going to leave, all right, we're just going to make a new one. And that's pretty much what they did. Thomas is a little bit bigger than Hardy, but all the things you described are pretty much what Hardy did. He was dangerous in the return game. He plays really well in the slot. He's a playmaker. I'm interested to see how he continues to develop. I haven't really had a chance to look into him much. I was actually asleep when he committed, but I'm interested to see how he develops. I mean, we talked about Luke Reynolds and how he committed as an unranked kid and ended up skyrocketing. I could see Thomas on a little bit of a similar trajectory. I don't think he quite gets to where Reynolds was just because he doesn't have the size or the measurables, and that's a big thing in rankings, but I could see him jumping up pretty big. And listen, if Terry Smith wants a corner, I want a corner. Like it's that simple. Terry Smith has earned the benefit of the doubt with these things.
Right, and the way I look at it is this guy's already had high production. And Terry Smith has done a good job for Penn State. Penn State hasn't always taken the highest rated cornerbacks in over the. I think Marty's computer died, but Terry Smith hasn't always taken the highest rated prospects at cornerback. He's taken prospects who's always had this one deficiency that has kept them from being that 4-star, 5-star kid. And for Thomas, it may be that size, 5'10", 165. Is he really 5'10", or is he 5'9"? I mean, Daquan Hardy is listed at 5'9", but if he shows up at the combine at like 5'8.5", are we going to be shocked? Probably not. So we'll find out what Xavier Thomas's true height is eventually. And maybe it is 5'10". But he's always taking guys who have a small deficiency here or there that keeps them from being that highly rated guy and then turns them into all Big Ten caliber defensive backs. I think he's going to do that with Thomas. I think there's incredibly high potential with Thomas. I think the ceiling is high potential, even though he started for 3 years at Pittsburgh Central Catholic, has played a lot of football. I think he's just scratching the surface of that ceiling for him. And, I think he can be next in line of great Penn State cornerbacks under Terry Smith. And we'll see. But you add the return game aspect to it. It feels lazy, but Daquan Hardy really is the best comparison for him. I think he's a potential nickelback for Penn State here in the future.
100% agree.
All right. Well, we talked about a lot. An hour and 41 minutes here. 100 minutes. 100 minutes of Penn State talk today on the Penn State 365 podcast. I appreciate everybody who stayed with us throughout this entire podcast. Any final thoughts, Anthony? I mean, a lot to talk about. It's probably our final podcast. No, we have one more podcast before the Peach Bowl. Obviously, to preview the Peach Bowl. I'll be honest, we probably won't break down the Peach Bowl until after New Year's, just because I'll be traveling to the game. I'm coming back 31st. My mother lives down there with as well as my stepdad, so I'm going to be down there visiting family around the holidays. The podcast won't be my first priority. I'm sorry, but any final thoughts about anything we talked about today, or anything we didn't talk about?
No, it's been a busy month since we've been recording. It's been busy, but also slow at the same time, in a weird sense. A lot has happened, but it hasn't all happened clustered together. Yeah. But
recruiting has been quiet.
Yeah, recruiting has been super quiet until signing day, obviously, and I think that's by design. That's by design.
I think which James Franklin would like it to be.
Yes. No, I don't think James Franklin is with the signing day drama like the Oregons and Floridas and A&Ms provide. So if you're looking for that, trust me. You look at other teams, you will find it.
Yeah, Maryland, perhaps. It's amazing, by the way, that Maryland always somehow flips some major kid right on signing day every year.
Listen, you'll never convince me that Maryland doesn't do that purposely. You'll never convince me because every year they do it. Every single year.
Yeah, I was gonna throw some shade at Alexa, but you know what? Maryland's turned into a quality program. They're just having. They're not. I don't know if they're ever going to get to that. They are comfortably a second-tier Big Ten team, and I don't think they're ever going to enter that first tier. Yeah, but I think you put them up. But yeah, with that, let's wrap it up.